Good evening, everyone. I am so delighted to have with us a very special guest. We have waited for a few weeks, maybe a few months, but now for sure, the time has arrived where we are blessed to have in our presence one of our own, Mrs. Dawnette Moore, formerly Dawnette Chisholm. Mrs. Moore, we are so delighted to have you. And there is a special joy. There's a special joy that I have, and we'll get into that, but we are delighted to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just for the benefit of the audience, where are you interviewing from at this moment?
I am in Connecticut at this moment.
Wow, wow.
Yes.
Truth be told, I'm not very far from you because I'm in New Jersey. So we're separated by New York State, so not too far. So we share a lot in common, especially lack of sunshine.
Cold weather.
Yes. So just so you know, just to give you an idea what this is, the Rusea's Brosis Foundation is a project of joy and pride in our high school, Rusea's High School. And what we have done in terms of our promotional or empowerment night is to highlight those who have gone ahead, those who have passed through the halls of Rusea's and have accomplished some things that have made a difference in society. And we're giving those individuals a platform where we can share those experiences and also provide a model for those students that we currently have at Rusea's. So those are the twofold: to celebrate your accomplishments and also to inspire those who are not sure what is possible and would be intrigued to know that there is someone who sat where they're sitting and has done some things. So that gives you an idea where this is. I want you to know that it is totally relaxed. I want you to enjoy the experience. I want you to realize that this is your time and there's no stress. So there are going to be some things that I might not mention. You are welcome to bring it to the forefront, okay?
All right.
So let's take it back. Let's take it back. How many siblings do you have?
Oh, there's 6 of us. I'm the first of 6.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility for you.
Oh, yes.
Being the eldest.
Yes.
Beautiful. So my understanding is that you're from Retrieve. Is that correct?
That is
where
correct.
you grew up?
Mm-hmm.
Where is Retrieve? And give us an idea. How do you
So,
get there from Lucy?
From Lucy, when you get out to Q Bridge, you go up the hill. So Retrieve is between Jericho and Cascade.
Okay, got it. And in terms of time, how long does it take from Lucy to get to Retrieve?
Gosh, now or then? Maybe
both.
Good. Maybe I would say 30 minutes.
Okay.
30 minutes, yes.
I've been to Jericho, I've been to Cascade, but I don't remember Retrieve. So
yeah, Retrieve is,
but it's somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I lived exactly halfway between Cascade and Jericho.
Okay. So my record shows me that you attended Brownsville School, is that correct?
I did, yes.
Tell me about that school and that experience.
Brownsville All Age, geez, those were the formative years. And I still have friends from that time.
Wow.
People like Audley Walker,
yes,
Michelle Donaldson, Patricia Atkinson, Angela Lewis. We all went to Brownsville together.
Wow.
When Teacher Reed was the principal, those were the days.
Wow. So what age did you leave Brownsville?
I left Brownsville. I passed my common entrance when I was 10 going on 11.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow. Early bloomer.
Yes.
Nice. Beautiful. And then you came to Rusea's. So
yes.
what year was that you came to Rusea's?
1980.
1980. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came back to Rusea's. Notice I said back.
Yes.
To Rusea's 1981.
Yes. That's when I had you.
1981?
1981 when you came back.
Wow. So you're in the line of fire Rumor has
Yes.
it on the street
Uh-huh.
that there was some emotional response where I was concerned, bordering unfair. Could you explain? Because I personally cannot understand
Hmm.
how that was possible. So could you help me to?
Well, let me put myself back in that seat.
Yes.
1981. I'll give you an example. So Mr. Dunkley was the AdMaths teacher. So when you hear you have Mr. Dunkley, everybody gets scared. Mr. Dunkley is strict. Mr. Dunkley has high expectations. Those were the things that you would hear in the hallway. So my personal experience was this. The first test I had in your class, I got a 68. And I remember vividly, you walk into the class and you said, Miss Chisholm, you want to come up here and tell us why you got a 68 in my class?
Mm.
And
Wow.
I thought for sure I was gonna die.
I did that.
You did that. You did that. But it didn't break me. It made me. Want to come up here and tell us why you got a 68 in my class?
Mm.
And I thought for sure I was gonna. But after class ended, I realized that my grade was not the lowest grade. But it didn't break me. So that gave me hope.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to turn off my volume on my phone because I want to see the comments. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. So that gave me hope.
Okay. Trying to turn off my volume on my phone. I want to see the comments. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got it now. Good. Sorry about that.
That's
Good.
okay.
So I asked you why you got 68. That was not fair. That was not fair. But just so you know, I would not do that today, okay? I'm a better person today. But I cannot picture that person that they say I was. I just can't picture that because I'm a nice person.
You are a nice person.
nice-
You were then. You were then. You still are. But you had very high expectations,
Well,
which
that's
is
true.
it's not a bad thing for the growing mind.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel better already. Thank you. So how many years were you at Rusea's?
I was at Rossi's until 1986.
86. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So after O levels, I went to sixth form. I went on the sixth
Yes.
form. I did a year in sixth form.
Okay.
And then I left.
And then, so let me ask you, if you were to summarize your journey at Rusea's, how would you describe it?
It was the worst of times and the best of times.
Hmm.
Let
Interesting.
me explain.
Yes.
I came from a very poor family. I'm talking go to school, either have lunch money or bus fare, but I can't have both.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Okay, so going to Rossi's groomed me because I had to learn at an early age how to make sacrifices
Wow.
and
Wow.
what sacrifices would serve me in the future.
Yes.
So going to school without lunch was a big sacrifice because I had the desire to learn. I am a forever student. I'm currently in school still. I'm the forever
Wow.
student. So
Wow.
so I always have the desire to learn. I love books. I in my mind at that age, there had to be a better life than the one that I had. So I
Yeah.
would immerse myself in books. So going to overseas, I developed, I learned, I grew, and I had friends. It was family.
Yes.
Overseas was family. I went home a couple of years ago with my daughter, and she said, I want to go to your high school because you talk so much about it. So I took her to Rusea, to the old campus, and I met up with one of my former friends, Roselle Reed, and we sat over by Fort Charlotte and told her about our days at Rusea's.
Wow.
And that was her reaction was, wow, I wish I enjoyed my high school the way you did. I said, and it wasn't all fun, but we were learning. There was expectations for us to learn and to become something.
Right, right.
You know, so
right.
that's the family. I still fondly think of Rusea's. I am a diehard Rusea's person wherever I go. Yes.
Yes. You know, as you speak, I just want to let you know that the same feelings that you have, the same sentiments you have, are the reasons why I came back to Rusea's in 81.
I believe it.
There's a sense of gratitude that I have that will always be with me because Rusea's transformed me.
Same here.
It prepared me for a life that I never knew. It prepared me for a life that I couldn't imagine.
Yes.
And as I listen to you speak, I hear it, that it did have that impact on you.
It sure did.
No, you did mention that you're a forever student, which is a powerful statement. Some people might not fully comprehend that. You did in that you're currently in school also.
I am.
I wanted to share that with us a little later, but that intrigues me because that's exciting. That's very, very exciting. So in your academic pursuits, you started out in science.
Yes.
And then you switched.
I did.
Then you switched again. You're slippery.
Yes.
You're slippery. Talk to me. What went down right there?
So what happened was I was in the science classes and I'll never forget Mr. Henry, God rest his soul.
He's still alive, by the way, okay?
God bless him. Mr. Henry was my chemistry teacher. And I remember one day he said to me, so what do you want to do when you leave school? And I said, I want to be a nurse. He said, you have no ambition.
Mercy,
said,
you did that.
He did. He said, I'm telling you, teachers back then were really harsh, some of them. So anyway, he said, you have no ambition. Why don't you want to be a doctor? I said, because I want to be a nurse. He said, what, you're not going to make a life being a nurse. I said, you want to bet?
Wow. Wow.
So then I left the science classes. Like, I'm over it. I'm going to arts.
Wow.
But my passion was not the arts, it was the science.
Okay.
Because I have, from as far as I can remember, when I was 2 years old, my mom gave me a t-shirt that says, I want to be a nurse. That's my first childhood memory of that t-shirt. That's all I've ever wanted to be.
Wow.
That's it.
So your mom was involved in the medical field at all?
No.
Or she just pictured you being a nurse?
I was always taking care of everybody.
Okay.
Yes, take care of the dog. I take care of my cousins. I take care of my siblings. Wow. So yeah.
Wow. Just want to let you know, Carlene is giving you a shout out. She's excited to see you and to have you tonight. Okay. That's what it's out there. Good. So the arts. You said you had that conversation with Mr. Henry, and then you switched to the arts.
Yes.
Why did you switch though? You had the conversation, but why did you switch?
Because I felt like I couldn't handle the science.
Okay.
Some of it was fear.
Yes.
It was fear that I'd better go where I'm more comfortable. You know, sometimes we don't want to step outside of our comfort. So I switched. But I remember Mrs. Rhodes saying to me, you could be anything you set your mind to be. And then I reflected back on when I was in first form in 1B, my English teacher was Mr. Corey, Mr. John Corey. I'll never forget him. And at the end of the school year, he wrote a letter to each of his students in our books.
Yes.
And I kept that letter for years. And I would reread it because he said, don't allow fear to stand in your way. You can be anything you set your mind to be.
Wow.
And I kept that. I lost that letter when Hurricane Gilbert happened. My papers were destroyed. But that letter,
yes,
it helped me through a lot of hard times.
You can be whatever you set your mind to.
Yes. And I took it to heart. And I said, well, I can be whatever I set my mind to be.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Ryan Steele is sending greetings. And I'm just giving you an idea of some of the people who are actually on and checking
Okay.
out what's going on. Okay.
Okay.
So then you left Rusea after 6 years, and did you? I know you came to the States, but before you did you ever work in Jamaica?
Yes, I did.
Tell
As
me
a matter
about
of fact, my first job ever was at the post office. So I
Oh,
worked at Jericho Post Office.
wow.
Yes,
Now you know
that was
back in those days, being a postmistress is a big thing. You
it
know
was a
that.
big thing. Yes,
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
learned to send telegrams. I learned to sort mail, and it was a big deal. That was
Right.
my first job.
Wow,
Yes,
wow. And then, so you left Rusea in '86.
yes,
When did you come to the United States?
88.
Shortly after. Wow,
Shortly after, yes,
wow, wow.
yes. October
So
1st.
1988.
Yes,
Was that the first time you traveled?
my first time.
How was the adjustment for you?
Oh my goodness. So, of course, I came to New York. So, I lived in Brooklyn, right? That's where my mom was. And I cried every day for a year. I
Wow.
wanted to go home. I didn't like this place. Why did you bring me here? I have
Mm,
no friends. I don't like it. I keep getting lost in the subway. It was horrible.
wow. Wow.
I,
And you were an adult and your mom was there, but yet you were very,
yes,
uncomfortable, very saddened by the
very,
experience.
very sad. The people
Wow.
were rude. No one talked to you. I was beside myself and I couldn't sleep. It was too noisy.
Mm,
So it was a major adjustment and I hated the food. I'll never forget, I lost so much weight. As my aunt said, you're just big eyes, a head of hair, and skin and bones.
wow. Wow. So you left, at the time when you left Jamaica, you were living, where were you living? In Jericho?
Retrieve.
You were living in Retrieve and came into the concrete jungle.
And
That was a concrete
yes,
jungle.
so you
My
can
goodness.
imagine this
Yes.
country girl smack dead in New York.
Yes.
And then I started to go to school in Manhattan. Oh my Lord.
Wow.
Every day I was calling my cousin crying. I'm not sure if I'm to go uptown or downtown on this train.
Wow. Wow. Interesting because I came to the Bronx.
Ah,
When I came to the Bronx, and Brooklyn and Bronx has this thing. If you land in Brooklyn, that's where you gravitate. I landed in Bronx, and I'm a Bronx boy. I love the Bronx. I will visit Brooklyn, but I'm more comfortable in the Bronx. It's just interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting. So then, when did you finally start to pursue nursing school?
So
Give me
this
an idea of when you made that shift, that transition.
so when I came to New York, I had a hard time finding a job because I was very shy. I
Okay.
was very shy. I didn't, it was just too big for me. It was outside of my comfort zone. So then I decided I wanted to go to school. So I
Okay.
went and I took some CNA classes. That was nursing assistant classes. So I
Yes.
said, let me, try to get a feel of what school is like in this country, so on
Yes.
and so forth. So I aced that. I got all A's. My teachers were impressed. They were like, you have to go to nursing school. So they wrote me all these letters of recommendations to go to nursing school. Now, at
Yes.
that time, I was also considering joining the Army. Believe
What?
that or not. Yes, I'm like,
You were
well,
shy and thinking of joining the army?
yes, because I could get a full education. I'm thinking financial, right? I'm
Yes,
thinking,
yes,
okay,
yes.
how am I going to pay for college? Because I have to go to college. Because when I left overseas, I was pregnant with my first son.
Okay,
So I
okay. So
had
you
this
have
little boy,
responsibility.
yes,
Yes,
back
yes.
in Jamaica, because I left him when I came to the States. He was with my
Oh,
grandmother. So
yes,
I'm like, I have to, I have responsibilities. I was
yes,
young, but
yes.
I had responsibilities. So I went to school in Manhattan for a while. And then I met my late husband. He lived in Connecticut. So that's
Oh,
how I ended up in Connecticut.
got you.
So
Okay.
I came to Connecticut and then I went to nursing school here in Connecticut, and the rest is where I am today.
Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. So you graduated from nursing school, and then where did you work?
So I worked at Waterbury Hospital for a while. I worked in cardiac. I did cardiac telemetry. I did the ICU. I did that for a while. but it was not my it wasn't my love. See, nursing is so varied and so broad. There's so
Mhm.
much you can do. So I did that for a while, and then I decided I wanted to go into rehab. Wanted
Mm.
to work with, you know, people who are in short-term rehab, and I landed this job. I can't even tell you how I got the job, but it was to work in a rehab facility that also had uh, what we call a vent unit. So 30 beds, patients on vents, but they were young. There were
Mm.
young people from New York who had been in gang violence, or they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were all traumatic brain injury kids. I call them kids. So I got that job as a charge nurse. And within a year, I got promoted to director.
Wow. Whoa.
So, yeah,
Director of nursing.
director of nursing. And I
Wow.
did that for, director for 15 years.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
director of nursing. I didn't set out to, I knew along the way, somewhere along the way, I would advance because that's just who I was. I like to grow, but it kind of landed in my lap. So I
Yes.
didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing, if that makes any sense.
Yes. 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 You're
And
finding a
so
way.
I had the best boss ever. I still talk about her. She's retired, but she was from England. So we had very similar discipline. And I'll never
Right.
forget, she
Right.
said to me, she said, this is how you're going to be successful in this job. Be consistent. If you're going to be bad, be bad. If you're going to
Mm.
be good, be good. But don't be wishy washy, be consistent. And I took those words throughout the rest of my career. Consistency.
Wow. 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 So you were director of nursing, which is a hard act to follow, for
Yes,
15 years.
yes.
And then after that position,
So
where did
then
you go?
I'm still the director of nurses and I'm getting bored because Dawnette gets bored if she's been doing anything for too long. It's like,
That's
okay, what
interesting.
else can I do now? I've kind
That's
of
very
reached
interesting.
the pinnacle of my career. I'm a director. That's it. There's nowhere else to go. So let me go lateral. So at the time, my daughter was maybe 15 when I said, you know what, she has sickle cell. I need to be readily available.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason I gravitated towards management positions because
Yes.
I knew I couldn't be the nurse on the floor who you're depending on me to give the medications. Because if I got a call that she has to go to the hospital, I'm going to go.
Right. Right.
So she was about 15, 14 going on 15. She was in high school, but it was a really rough time for her. She spent most of her days in a hospital.
Mm.
And a friend of mine called me and said, hey, would you like to stop being a director and work from home? I was like, no, not really. She goes, come on, you will like it. I said, no, work from home. I'm not going to have lunch with people. I'm going to be by myself. I don't know. Well, I had a bad day one day at work. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go work from home.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I took that job. It was with the state of Connecticut. The reason I took the job, however, was the state was working on a sickle cell program. They were launching a sickle cell program. Now, when my daughter was diagnosed with sickle cell at 6 weeks old, I immersed myself into learning everything there was to know because I needed to know how am I going to take care of her. So when the state wanted to launch this program, because I had served on the board at the Children's Hospital
Yes.
as a parent advisory board, I knew a lot of people. So I was like, yes, I want that job because I have a lot to say, I have a lot to give, a lot to offer, and a lot more
Yes.
to learn. So
Right.
I went into that job, took that position as a case manager
Oh,
for people with sickle cell disease.
yes. Yes.
Yes, because
Okay.
I knew the pediatric end of it, but now I wanted to learn the adult end because this is a lifelong thing, right? So I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I want to see how the adults are dealing and see what I have to look forward to with my child. So that's how I branched out from being a director. But in between, I also meddled in hospice. I did hospice care for a while. but I didn't give up director. I did it as a part-time because I wanted to see what it was. I hated it. Absolutely hated
Oh, okay, okay,
it. I got involved in case management. So then of course I got certified because anything I'm doing, I want to have the credentials to go with it.
Nice.
So I got certified as a case manager. And when I took that job, I said, that's it. I don't want to manage people anymore. I'm done. I just want to relax and cruise. Within a year, I was promoted to be the manager.
Well, people will recognize talent and people have good work ethic. There people will recognize that and opportunities will come.
Yes, and they did. And so I took it. And I was the manager for 7 years doing that. And then I moved to Florida.
Oh, sunshine.
Yes.
Yes.
I moved to Florida, but I only lasted there 1 year.
Okay.
Because my family was all back here. And my daughter, the healthcare in Florida was not the best for someone with sickle cell.
Got it. Okay.
You know, it was lacking. It was too much of a struggle. So I said no, because Connecticut knows you. They know what treatment plan you're on. And all you got to do is say, hey, I don't feel good. And they'll say, come in, we'll take care of it. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that was important. That was important to you.
Yes.
Beautiful. You speak about your daughter, but I don't hear much about your son.
So I have 2 awesome sons.
Okay.
Yes. My firstborn is Travis. He just turned 35 last week.
Wow.
And he is an Army vet. He served 3 tours of duty in Iraq.
My goodness.
I almost lost my mind.
I can't imagine that.
But I didn't. Thank God for grace and mercy.
Yes.
And he is now married with 3 beautiful children. Like my grandchildren are my heart.
Wow.
Love them to pieces.
I know the feeling.
Yes. So that's my Travis. And then I have my second son, Jamal. He's 6 feet 5 inches tall, a teddy bear. And he lives in Atlanta. He likes to travel.
Okay.
And do his thing. He went to college for communications. He dabbled in videography. He does whatever Jamal feels like doing. He makes his money and he spends it on himself. Said he doesn't want any children, at least not for a while, because they're expensive. That's what he said.
You say he's 6 feet 5 inches, you said? 6'5"? Whoa. That's a tower.
Yeah.
Wow.
He is.
My goodness.
Yes. And then, of course, there's my daughter, Danny. And she will be 25 next month. That's why we're going to Aruba. It's to celebrate.
Nice.
Yes, to celebrate 25 years. Beautiful. She is the strongest young lady that I know. And I'm not saying it because she's my child. Yes. I'm saying it because it is.
It says a lot.
Yes. She's smart. She went to Clark Atlanta University. She is kind. She's loving, and she sees people.
Beautiful.
Yes. She's beautiful. Sweet child.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that with us, because, you know, sometimes we have adult children and we don't see them the way we would see them when they're small, but it's nice to see how you reflect on the difference your children and appreciate them for their differences. That's a good thing. Now, my record shows that you did pursue a master's degree.
Yes.
What was the motivation? Was that why? Because you were in management that you did that? Explain to us.
No, that was for me.
That's for you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got my associates as a nurse.
Yes.
And everybody kept saying, you should get your master's in nursing. And I said, no, I don't want that. So I got my master's in organizational management.
And public health, right?
Yes. Wow. Because that's what I was interested in.
Got it.
Yes. And I had a plan. My desire was to open a sickle cell clinic in the western part of Jamaica.
Wow.
That has been my heart's desire. because there's none.
Is it
And
still on the table?
there are people there with sickle cell, but they have to go to Kingston.
Mercy. Is it still on the table? That option is still on the table for you?
Yes, it is. It's still that's why now I'm trying to get my doctorate. Because I need to be empowered with the tools that I need so that when I decide it's time.
Beautiful.
I have, the tools to pursue it.
Excellent, excellent. I love that vision. I love it. I love it. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And that's a good plan, good intention. And God has a way of working things out.
Yes, he does.
And I see you're doing the preparation. People say you're lucky. It's not lucky. If you're prepared and the opportunities come, then that's when you step into that zone. So you're on the right track, and I'm excited. Our president, Mr. Troy Malcolm, is expressing gratitude for your presence here on the platform.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And I also have, is that Tony Bernard? Tony, is that Tony Bernard? Is that, as I'm seeing, I think it's Tony Bernard sending greetings.
Greetings.
And, yes. And Carlene is saying right here that you can do it. So she's
thank you, Carlene.
For you, yes.
Carlene's my champion.
Beautiful, beautiful. So where are you doing this doctoral program?
Online. Capella University.
Which one?
Capella.
Capella, got it. Beautiful, beautiful. And currently you're working as a case manager, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Which company are you with?
Aetna, who was just bought out by CBS, or it's Aetna CBS, and I work from home. It's fully remote.
You got it going. You got it going.
I do.
Picture, retrieve.
Yes.
United States of America.
Barefoot, no lunch.
Okay, all right then.
One uniform. The shoes that I wear to church is the same shoes for school, and gotta take care of it because I'm not getting a new pair. Maybe at Christmas I might, if there's money for it.
Mrs. Moore, let me say this to you. I got you beat. Okay? Because you did mention you had that bus fare or you had lunch, but you don't have both.
No.
What about not having bus fare and not having lunch? That'll put you to shame, okay? But guess what? Look at us now.
Look at us now.
God is good.
God is good all the time.
And these are things that, for me, there's no shame in my game at all.
Me neither.
As a matter of fact, I speak of my journey with pride and joy and gratitude. And I'm so glad to hear you speak of it unhitched. You're not ashamed of it. And
I'm not ashamed. It's what molds me. And you know what my grandmother always said? My grandmother used to say to me, not because we're poor, when you leave this house, that one uniform better be ironed. You better look like you are going somewhere. Beautiful. And then I had an uncle who used to say to me, good manners and a good education will take you where you need to go. Beautiful. So those words that were poured into me, I took them to heart.
Yes. Well, my circle never speaks so proper. Them say manners lead you through the world. So that was the one we get. We never get it so refined as you. Manners lead you through the world. Okay? You know, at this time, before we go any further, I just want to announce to those who are viewing this presentation, this interview, that Rusea's Brosis currently has a block drive, and we invite you to participate in that effort. It is part of our fundraising effort, and I'm sharing this to the platform. It's part of our effort to impact Rusea's in a marked and practical way. So our block drive is going towards building the project that we plan to, it's a sports complex that we're planning to create, which has a vision to enhance the entire system called Rusea's High School, not just sports, but the academic programs. So for those who have not been acquainted with the block drive, we encourage you to take a look at the Rusea's Brosis Foundation site and make a pledge, make a contribution to our block drive. Absolutely. Back to you, Mrs. Moore. I would like you at this time to identify two of the biggest challenges that you have ever faced. Two of the biggest challenges you have ever faced.
The first one is my husband died when I was 27 years old.
Mercy.
And I had my boys were 8 and 5 at the time. And when my husband died, I didn't know how to put gas in the car. I didn't know how to write a check.
Wow.
I was lost.
Mercy.
I was
Mercy.
lost. And I remember I was in school and some of my friends, some family said, you have to drop out of school because you need to work 2 jobs or so to take care of these kids. And I said to myself, no, I can't drop out of school because I'm going to need to take care of these kids.
Yes, yes.
So a friend of mine suggested that I go and apply for state assistance. And I went and I sat there and I observed how they were talking to the people that were applying. And I said, no, sir, not me. I said, my grandmother would die if she see me in this line, but I'm applying for state assistance. So I left, not knowing what I'm going to do. And at the time I was working as a nurse's aide. And I remember the secretary said to me, well, let's work your schedule so that you can go to school and still work and have. I said, how am I going to do that? She said, when do you have classes? I said, Monday to Thursday. She said, okay, so you could work Friday 3 to 11. You could work a double shift on Saturday and work 1 shift on Sunday. I'll make it 5 to 9. So you don't have to come in too early and you're not going home too late. So you still get 32 hours paycheck.
Wow.
You get to keep your insurance benefits and you're still going to school. She said, it's going to be hard. I said, I could do it.
Mercy.
Nice. And I did.
My goodness.
I did it.
And
that was the most challenging time of my life. And I thought life couldn't get any harder. And then I had my daughter, and at 6 weeks, the doctor called me and said, your child has sickle cell disease. She's got the most severe form, and I can't be her pediatrician because I don't know how to take care of her.
Wow. Wow. Have mercy. Have mercy. Those are 2 big ones. Those are 2 mountains. 2 big mountains. My goodness. And you're still standing. I'm still standing. But it's not because of any good thing that I've done. It's only because of God's grace and mercy. 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 Let me tell you, I have been blessed. I will not say I've been lucky. I've been blessed to have people placed in my path for such a time as whatever event was going on. Yes. I became part of a church community. It's an outreach ministry. And I was hurting when I joined that ministry. I was so broken, I'll tell you. I was so broken because I felt like life was so unfair. But I listened and I learned under the pastor there. And he was a Bible teaching pastor, but he has good, solid nuggets to impart. And he identified that I was going through something, and he gave me some responsibilities. And I said at the time, why are you giving me all these things to do? I don't have time. He said, don't listen to me. Don't listen to you. Listen to me. Those were his words. Don't listen to you. Listen to me. And I tell him every chance I get as a pastor, thank you. Mercy. Because I volunteered at food pantry. I volunteered in the after school program. I teach Sunday school. I was made the president of the education ministry in the church. I go and visit sick people in the hospital. I immerse myself in doing missionary work. And you know how blessed I've been? Yes. When my daughter was in the hospital and I couldn't leave work to go to her, my pastor would say, I'll go. Wow. And he would go and be her voice in the hospital so that I could work. Those are the kinds of people that I've been a part of something way bigger than me. Yes. You know, I have a simple way of looking at that. I've discovered that when you take care of God's business, God takes care of your business. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know who is listening. But I'm a living witness to that. When you give God your best, God take care of what you need. I've seen it. And I'm glad to hear you say that. You know? let me ask you, when your husband died and you had to juggle all these things, who was your biggest support with those two boys? Who was physically your biggest helper with those two boys?
My mother.
God bless him.
At the time, she lived in Brooklyn and I lived in Connecticut.
Really?
Yes.
So how did she
And
do it?
she was still working, but she would come up on her days off. She would come up on weekends.
Wow.
She would tell me to bring the kids. If they're out of school, she said, bring them so that you could get a break, so that you could study or whatever. She was my biggest supporter.
Wow. Wow. You know, there's a reason I answered this question, you know, because I have there's a quote that I have adopted, and it means a lot to me. It goes to the effect, something to this effect. It says, if I appear to be tall, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before me.
Yes.
We don't succeed by ourselves.
No, it's impossible.
We're not victorious by ourselves. There's no man who is an island.
Nope.
You know, we don't stand alone. And, you know, it is good that you were able to give honor where honor is due.
I'll tell you, we had a luncheon at church once and people were getting up to give accolades to, you know, the person that they looked up to. And I got up and I said, this song is for my mom. Beautiful. And it's Bette Midler's, Did You Ever Know That You're My Hero?
Whoa.
Because I know that she sacrificed a lot for us. Yes. And she does it quietly and with grace, never complaining.
Beautiful.
My hero.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And she was able to hear that. Yes. She's beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. Daniela Camila says, and you still did it. With all
That's my baby girl. That's my daughter.
Ah! Then she changed it and she said, we did it. So beautiful, beautiful. There it is. And you know, let me be honest with you. Part of the reason we have this empowerment platform is for reasons like this. Keeping it real.
Yeah.
You know, looking at stuff that really makes a difference in life. It's not the things that we have.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the things that we have. How have we impacted other people's lives?
I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that. I reached a point in my life, I remember I had built this beautiful home in a place called Bunker Hill here where I live. You know, beautiful. I mean, I had the marble was flown in from Italy. Beautiful home, you name it. 4 bedrooms, huge house. And I remember one night I was laying on my bathroom floor crying because I felt so empty. And I said, God, this can't be it. Why did I work this hard? This can't be it. Because something was missing. You know what that something was? My relationship with God.
Mercy.
That was the thing that was missing. So I had all of the possessions.
Yes, yes, yes.
But my position with God was off.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Step off my toe right there. Yes, you had the possession, but your position was questionable. Yes. Was shaky. Beautiful, beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that. And another person posted here that, you know, God puts angels in our path.
He sure does.
And especially single mothers. God has a way of putting angels in our path to help us to get over.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the comments that are coming in. I tell you, they're very, very helpful. So
you
let's
know,
go ahead.
As a result, you know what? I give back. I give a lot. I have a heart for single mothers.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And my kids just say, you take in all the strays, because there was always someone living with us. And I always said, because I would like, if something should happen to me, that someone will take care of my children.
Yes, and they will, because life is circular.
Yes.
You know, we plant seeds and we might not see the harvest, but there's certainly a harvest that will come.
Yes.
Definitely, definitely. You know, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and you might want to pause and think about it. Why do you think you are victorious? There are many who have succumbed to 25% of what you have experienced. They have just given up, put their hands up in the air and just give up. Why do you think after all you have been through, that you have been victorious?
I owe it all to Calvary.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mm.
All. There is no person, no thing. There's nothing that I can give credit. Yes, I have had some great opportunities, but I strongly believe that God has me here for a purpose. So my victory really has nothing to do with me.
Wow, wow, wow.
It's His purpose for my life, and so that someone else could
Yes.
see His greatness and
Yes.
glorify Him.
Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You know, one of the questions that I had listed that I wanted to ask you, but you have already addressed a few, but for emphasis, because sometimes we say things and it might go over somebody's head, but for emphasis, I'm going to still ask the question. You know, name a few of the people who have influenced you the most.
Starting from home, my grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, because I grew up with my grandparents. Beautiful. And my mom lived a mile away, but I grew up with my grandparents for the most part.
Yes.
And so them, my mother, of course.
Yes.
My teachers, Teacher Reed at Brownsville.
Beautiful.
I remember, Mr. Dunkley, I was poor and I was hungry sometimes. And Teacher Reed used to have lessons. After school was finished, you'd have lessons for those who's preparing for common entrance.
Right.
And I was in that class, and I remember he used to tell me at the end of school to go over to his house, go over to the cottage, and the housekeeper would make me a meal.
Wow.
And he would say to me, you cannot learn if you're hungry.
Wow. Wow.
Nobody knew he was doing that.
And you remember that to this day?
I remember it to this day. Because he saw something in me that was worth preserving.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
Teacher Reed. Then you go to Rusea's, people like Mr. Corey, Mrs. Rhodes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Mrs. Geraldine Malcolm.
Yes, yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes. Mr. Campbell, tall,
yes.
slim?
Yes. Mr. Campbell.
Wonder where he is.
I don't know, but he always tell me, he said, you've got an affinity for the English language.
Wow, wow.
And that's a great compliment.
Distinction in language and literature, I noticed you did.
Yes.
Beautiful, yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Those people, Mrs. Ansign, Janice and Errol Ansign, their mom. Let me tell you, that lady, she raised me pretty much. I went home to Jamaica and I took my daughter to meet her. And she said to my daughter, you look just like your mom did when I was raising her. Because she did.
Yes,
so I became friends with Janice and Errol, and a lot of times I would spend the weekend at their house. Or she would say, why don't you come down? She know I don't have any bus fare. So she said, come down to the house. That way you guys could walk to school.
Wow.
So she took care of me. Wow. You know, these are the people that played a very important role. Believe it or not, Mr. Miller, PZ.
Yes, yes.
I remember my first encounter with him was not a good one. I didn't know that PZ was a nickname. So I was late for school. I'm in first form, right?
Yes.
So he's at the gate and I said, good morning, Mr. PZ. And I remember he grabbed my arm and he said, girl, PZ is for me and those who went to primary school. It's Mr. Miller for you.
Ouch.
But I apologized, and then he knew who I was.
My goodness. Yes. Mark Barrett is saying, thank you for sharing your journey with us. We're truly blessed to have you on this live chat.
It's my pleasure.
I also want to take the time to say, somebody poured into you.
Yes.
And look at you today. You have been able to save lives. You have been able to impact so many lives and still planning to do big things to help humanity. For those who are on the chat, for those who are watching this video, don't be afraid to invest in someone. Don't be afraid to pour into someone. You never know how this world could be transformed by little acts of kindness, little acts of love, little acts of encouragement that we may give to others. Because here, Mrs. Moore is now a living example of what's possible.
Yes.
You don't know what your seed that you plant, what type of fruits may come forth. I just want to put that plug out there. No, that was, you haven't even left Rusea yet. You have named so many and you haven't left Jamaica yet.
I know.
Bring it forward.
Bring it forward.
Yes.
So here I am in the United States, and I
Yes.
met this man, and he passed
Yes.
away recently.
Yes.
His name was Andy DeFilio.
Yes.
Now, he was a nurse, and he was the director of nurses when I met him. And
Okay.
he hired me as a nurse's aide.
Yes.
And the first week after working there, he called me into his office and he said, "You need to go back to school."
Mercy.
He said to me, "The company will pay for your school. All you have to do is bring your grades. You need to get a C or better, and we'll pay for your classes."
Wow. My goodness.
That's how I went to nursing school. Fast forward, I'm a director of nurses, and one day somebody paged me and said, "Dawnette, there's an Andy DeFilio here to see you." I was like, "Really? Send him down. I'm in my office." And he comes down, he says, "I'm looking for a job." I was like, "Stop."
Are you kidding me?
He said, "Dawnette, I am looking for a job. Are you hiring?" I said, "Yes, I am hiring." So I hired him. And it was I can't put into words the feeling. The tables were now turned. And I remember I was having a staff meeting and he asked, could he speak? And he started to cry. And he so eloquently said, "I remember when you were 21 years old and you were so shy and you looked like you were afraid of life."
Mercy.
And I remember saying to you, "Go back to school." And he said, "I'm so proud to say that I encourage you to go back to school and you're doing a phenomenal job." That, if no one else ever said anything to me, that did it.
That's big. That's big.
We became so close that his granddaughter and my daughter are now like best friends. In fact, we were in Jamaica and she called up my daughter and said, "Where are you?" And we said, "We're in Jamaica." She said, "I'm coming." And she took the next plane down.
Wow. That's his granddaughter.
His granddaughter, yes.
Nice, nice,
yes.
nice.
Yes.
Your daughter is saying full circle moment.
Yes.
So she's following what's going on. Listen, as you mentioned that Andy said to you, you need to go back to school. I just had a moment just now. Mrs. Robinson. Mrs. Robinson, the head of the math department at Mobay High. I didn't go straight to college after high school.
Okay.
I was teaching after sixth form at Montego Bay High School for girls. 1977 to 1978. And Mrs. Robinson looked at me and said, "Mr. Dunkley, young little boy, Mr. Dunkley, you need to go back to school. You work harder than many of these trained teachers in the building."
Yep.
And she gave me counsel and advice as to how to get help to go to school. And here it is, somebody did, I hear you, and right away Mrs. Robinson came, boom, in my head. Yes. Somebody spoke life into me.
Yes.
And opened doors, and look at you. Yes. Same thing, amazing, amazing. So that's one person you mentioned in the United States. That's huge. And yes. that's a big one. That's a curtain right there. Yes.
That's it. And he passed away 2 years ago, and his birthday was recently, and I was talking to my daughter and I said, "His number is still in my phone." Wow. I still get the alert that it's his birthday because he was such a big part of our lives and we miss him.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Do you want to mention anyone else in this? In this
country, my pastor.
Beautiful. Yes.
My pastor. Yes. My pastor really poured into, in fact, And this is, I'm gonna share it because I'm not ashamed of any part of my journey. But my daughter's father, after my husband died, I remarried my daughter's father, but we got a divorce because he was not the father or the husband that we needed.
Understood.
And having a child with a chronic illness takes a toll on the family structure.
Yes,
And
yes.
he couldn't handle it,
Understood.
so to speak. But my pastor stepped in without asking. I remember every graduation, every
He was
award
there.
ceremony,
He was
every
there.
hospitalization, every surgery, I would look around and my pastor is there.
Amazing.
And you
Amazing.
know what he said to me one day? He said, I would like to thank you. I said, for what, Pastor? I didn't do anything. He said, thank you for allowing me to be a part of Danny's life and to
Wow.
see her grow and blossom into this beautiful young woman.
Well,
And
you know,
I said, no,
yes.
I said, no, Pastor, thank you.
You know, for those people, a lot of people like to beat up on church. There are good people in church.
There are good people in church.
And God's plan still stands.
Yes.
There are some who try to spoil God's plan, but I love the testimony that you've just shared. And that's what God intended.
Yes.
For us to be a family. You know?
I remember my pastor used to say, what do you think God decided when you were living in Jamaica, not knowing anything about the United States, not knowing anything about this church, not knowing anything at all? God already had a plan that you were going to come to the United States and you were going to come to this church and our paths were going to cross.
Providence, providence, beautiful. Yes. So I have some open-ended questions I want to ask you. And I'm digging deep. I'm digging very deep. If you had the power, identify something you would do for the Brownsville School.
Oh my goodness. If I had the power, I would get them a really nice library with computers, electronics, a library that, because for me, growing up, books,
yes,
that was my escape.
Yes.
And yes. I know kids don't read as we used to when we were younger.
Right.
But I believe that a nice library would be ideal for Brownsville School.
Beautiful. So we're putting it out there in the atmosphere. Beautiful. Yes. Same question. If you had the power, what would you do for Rusea's High School?
I would rebuild the academic reputation.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. For those who do not know, Rusea's was a giant academically. For those who do not know, we ranked in the top in the country. Yes. There was a time.
Schools Challenge, you name it.
Yes.
That's,
For those who do not know, I recommend that you look up Rita Brown. For those who do not know, she works with the United Nations now. Marcia Rusea's. For those who do not know them, look them up.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Here's another question for you. And since you brought it to the forefront, and I'm glad that you own it because it's real, and I like to keep it real. Teen pregnancy can be a major setback for any young girl.
Yes.
Let me say it one more time. Teen pregnancy can be a major setback for any young girl. What advice would you give to any such girl today?
Let me tell you a little bit about my situation. I was not in a relationship. I didn't have a boyfriend, but I got pregnant.
That stuff happens, yes.
Stuff happened, right? And I remember feeling so ashamed. I felt so ashamed because of what society does to you. No one asked me, how did this happen? What happened? Everybody just said, what were you thinking? That's what happened when you go on, think you're grown. I wasn't thinking I was grown. This didn't happen to me because I wanted it to happen, but it happened.
Mhm.
And here I was. And I remember I was ashamed, I was disappointed, and
Mhm.
I felt like, no, how am I going to get to where I want to go? How am I going to get there? I have a
Yes.
baby. What am I going to do?
Yes.
But I remember I had a neighbor, Mrs. Nola Brown. Her husband was Henry Brown. He was a fireman and she was a
Okay.
nurse. She was a registered nurse.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember we called her Aunt Noel, and she
Mhm.
sat me down and she said, listen to me. Having a baby does not mean it's the end of your life.
Wow. Wow.
She said, Dawnette, what do you want? I said, I want to be a nurse. She said, you can still do it. It's going to be hard as heck, but you
Yes.
can still do it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And then I had the Muirs, Mrs. Muir, the same thing. Mrs. Muir and Mr. Muir were neighbors of ours. And I remember Mr. and Mrs. Muir sat me down and said, it's not the end of your story.
Wow. Wow.
You don't have to work twice as hard, but you can still do it.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
let, and I remember Mrs. Muir saying to me, don't let me down.
Mm.
Now, when I had my son, I almost died. I went home from the hospital and I was so sick and I have a fever. I was delirious. And Mrs. Muir, she was a nurse, and
Yes.
my mom called her because my mother was supposed to have surgery the same time, and God knew what he was doing. Her surgery was canceled. And she
Wow.
came home and saw me in the bed. I was shaking so hard, the entire bed was shaking,
Mercy.
delirious, fever. And Mrs. Muir came and she said, she's septic. We got to get her back to the hospital.
Mercy.
And I remember she brought me to Dr. Brown in Lucy, and he said, my God, if this child makes it, it's going to be a miracle. I was septic because the placenta, half of it was left in my body.
Oh, mercy.
And I remember I was in the hospital for 6 weeks getting, yes. And I remember Dr. Brown came to see me the last week I was in the hospital, up at Noel Holmes Hospital, and he said to me, Miss Chisholm, you're a very lucky young woman. He said, whatever God has planned for your life, you need to do it.
Wow.
Because he said, medically, you weren't supposed to be here.
Wow.
So I remember those things. And at the time, a lot of teen people were getting pregnant, going for abortions and dying.
Yes.
Or they were having the baby and dying. So I was scared.
Yes. Yes.
But I had a goal and I had a desire. And my thought was still, there is life outside of this.
Yes. Yes.
There's
Yes.
something better. There's something better.
Yes.
So you have to fight. And I remember one night I was crying. I was holding my baby and I was crying because I was hungry. And I had given him the last that I had. And I remember I said to him, you mark my word, I'm going to have more than enough to feed you and the neighborhood children.
Wow.
And you know what my son said to me recently? He said, so Mom, are you saying that we were never rich? I said, no, boy, we were never rich. He said, but you fed all my friends came to our house to eat. I said, I know. He said, but you made us feel like you were rich. I said, we were never rich. I worked very hard, but we were never rich. Mom, we didn't see you struggle. I said, because you didn't need to see me struggle.
Beautiful.
I wanted you to have what I didn't have. And my kids are respectful. I thank God every day. They've never been arrested. They're respectful. They went to school. They did what they were supposed to. And they're well-rounded adults.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I want to share some things that are being posted here with you. This is exciting. This is exciting. What's this? Aldine Morris says, some people are just a blessing.
Hi, Aldine.
Yes. I said, this is my cousin, Aunt Nolly.
Yes.
Yes. Then we have here Garnet Denton, very touching and inspiring story. Keep up the good work, lady. Lady D. Keep
Thank
the
you.
Jamaican flag flying high. We little, but with talawa.
Hello.
Enough love and respect. Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Carlene
you.
is saying here, traumatic for a teen girl.
Yes, very
Yes,
traumatic.
yes.
Very.
And then we have here Claudette Shipping. Mrs. Shipping.
Ah, Miss, I remember
Yes.
Claudette.
Yes. It says, I Dawnette, very,
Hi.
very inspiring and motivating chat. I
Thank
can
you.
relate to the journey.
Ah,
Amen. 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 And Jill says inspiring. Okay. Listen, I love the fact that you have no holds bar. And I love the fact that your journey has inspired you. It has been the catalyst for your success, a tremendous catalyst. For some people would have folded. And I'm so glad that you're not afraid to share what you have shared. I thank you for doing that. Because a lot of people pretend that they were born with a gold spoon in their mouth, and that they were just all fancy and fabulous from the get-go. But I do believe that I own my space, I own my story.
yes.
And my story, there's no shame in it, because I honestly believe, just as yourself, that now you can look back and be so grateful.
Yes.
So grateful, because this was not the way it was supposed to end.
No.
But you refused to fold.
Yes.
Refused to fold, and God made a way.
Yes.
You know? Yes. So, looking back over your journey, let me see if I, yes. Yes, looking back over your journey, what stands out significantly to you? Just looking back over your tender years, what is one of the things that just jump out at you as you reflect?
Ah, as I reflect,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Sometimes you hear people say, good friends is better than money.
Pocket money, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, that
yes,
saying.
yes.
And as I look back over my life, I have been blessed with having real friends. People like Audley Walker, Michelle Donaldson. These are people who, even at a young age, they shared what they had with me.
Yes, yes, yes.
They embraced me. I didn't have much, but I was taken into the fold, that family, and I am glad for it. And as you mentioned, Aldine Morris had something to say. Her mom, Miss Lolly,
yes,
God bless her, God rest her soul. She was instrumental as one of my teachers up at Brownsville. Let me tell you, that was a teacher's teacher. She really invested herself into her students.
Wow.
And she also was one that used to tell me, not because you're poor, nobody don't need to know.
Nice. Aye. Good advice.
Yes.
Good advice.
So as I look back at, and I do this a lot, and my husband and I tend to do that. We are grateful people.
Yes.
And we like to help others, and we like to reflect on where we've come from. I met my husband, my current husband, when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
And he was 13. And we at that time said, we're gonna get married.
Hey, hey, hey.
And we went separate ways, and we had our own journeys, but my grandmother died, and that's what brought us back together. We reconnected at my grandmother's wake.
Wow.
Okay.
You got life.
Yes. Yes. And the timing was God's timing, and it was perfect. Because I said to him often, I think if we had gotten married when we were young, we would have ruined it. Because the things that we know now, we're better people.
Yes, yes.
And our experiences, life experience, is a great teacher.
Of course, of course.
And I'm a better wife,
yes,
a better mother as a result of life experience.
Yes.
So I look back over my life and I think about the friendships that I formed both in Brownsville and at Rusea. And these are friendships that I still cherish.
Yes.
I stay in touch with my friends.
Nice.
I go to Jamaica and I seek out my friends.
Beautiful.
I like to know how they're doing. I celebrate. I
Beautiful.
celebrate the
Yes.
success of others.
Yes.
Because I truly believe in standing in my own truth. And when I see someone else stand in theirs, I applaud them. I
Nice.
applaud them. I'm not
Nice.
afraid to say congratulations. But my biggest thing from my past, and I still do it now, if you come to my house, I have books everywhere. And my daughter is an avid reader. So is my oldest son, because we love books.
Nice.
People
Nice.
get lost in them. And my grandkids, I buy them books. I don't buy toys, I buy books. I want them to read. I want them to explore and expand their horizon. I travel, I've been to Africa. And I said, wow, I've been to Africa 3 times.
Yes. How many times?
3 times.
What?
Hello, Retreat. Hello, Retreat.
Nice.
Africa.
Nice.
I said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
So, and I dreamed of going to Africa when I was reading books.
I feel good because you have only gone there 3 times more than me, but I feel good. I'm still, I will catch up. Don't worry, I'll catch up. You have only gone 3 times more than me, okay?
Feeling. It's the best feeling.
It's on my list. It's on my list. Don't worry.
And the first time I went, I knew no one. I just decided I'm going to go. A 15-hour flight.
Yes.
But I wouldn't trade it.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Listen, one more time, I'm gonna tell those on the platform, those who are listening, that Rusea's Brosis is excited about Rusea's. We're just excited about the school, and we're not just talking about the school, but we're doing practical things to make Rusea's a better place. So we are inviting you and we're encouraging you to participate in the block drive. So for those who are listening, take the time and see what you can do to be a part, to support our block drive, because it's a very essential part of the strategy we have to build our school. I have a few comments I would like to share here with you. Uh-oh, I just touched something that I shouldn't touch. Don't do this to me now. Okay, just give me 2 seconds, let me go back. Okay. Okay. Well, my iPad is acting up. Mr. President did say something at the end, and Carlene also was so passionate about you and about what you bring to the forum. But I just want to let you know that we wish you the best in your dreams and your pursuits. Your doctoral program, we celebrate you. We will be your among your biggest cheerleaders. Because your success is Rusea's success and it's our success. And on this platform, we celebrate every chance we get, whether it's a birthday, whether it's a child's graduation, whatever it is, and another person's accomplishment is, a promotion. We get excited because we are family. That's what we promote on the Brosis platform. We're family. Now, as a former student of Rusea's and as a former teacher, and just to have just an itsy-bitsy part of your journey, but more so just to be able to listen to you as a human being and how your outlook on life. I'm fascinated by those who are victorious. I'm fascinated by those who have climbed mountains. I'm fascinated by those who have risen above the rubble. I'm intrigued by those who have this unstoppable nature that whatever comes, I'm gonna still press on. And your story intrigues me a lot. It excites me. And it made this evening for me very, very special. I want you to know on behalf of the Rusea's Brosis Foundation that we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very, very proud. What was very special to me about this interview is that we dealt with the heart and the soul. We dealt with humanity. We went into things that will last. As you mentioned, the marble and all that. The fact that you worked in nursing for so many years, the fact that you're You were in charge of the nursing. You were the head, the director of nursing. Means that you did handle the finance. So you could afford any type of lifestyle you want, but that was not enough. There
No.
was still a void that was still needing to be satisfied. And you found that satisfaction.
Yes.
And we encourage you to continue dreaming about creating that program where you could assist those in Western Jamaica
Yes.
that are impacted by sickle cell. We are excited about your daughter, and I've met her, but I feel the thrill, and that she's so proud of you, I can tell. And I'm sure your boys are rooting and excited about you, but your daughter is a fighter.
Yes, she
She's a
is.
true champion. And on behalf of the Rusea's Brosis Foundation, we want to applaud her on what she brings to life and the type of energy she emanates. And I just want to say thank you for giving us this time of the evening, just spending this time with us. We thank your husband for the joy that he brought into your life, because your peace is not just yours, it's for those who are around you also, because our environment does affect us.
Yes.
And the way you present yourself and the way you speak communicates joy, satisfaction, contentment. And the fact that you're able to commend him for what you share with him speaks volume for who he is. So we want to thank him. Is Dawnette Moore,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
See, I haven't forgotten. You see, I pay attention. I'm paying attention. So we commend you, we congratulate you, and we wish you all the best. So on behalf of the Rusea's Brosis Foundation, we thank you for spending this evening with us, and we wish you success, and would like to give you the chance to any last word you'd like to share with those who are watching and those who will watch even after tonight, because this is going to be available forever.
With those who are watching, those who will watch, for those who are just coming up, younger people, I say to you, stand in your truth, be proud of who you are, and don't allow anyone to make you feel less than, because you're more than enough.
All right now, just for emphasis, that those who are in school, the younger ones in school, I don't want them to miss it. Could you just say that again for them? Because they struggle with a lot of issues.
Yes.
You know, and especially in a culture where education has been diminished because of illegal activities and so many different things that have happened in our Jamaican culture.
Right.
Could you just share that with them again? Because I don't want them to miss that message that you're sharing with them, because they're looking for something to tell them that what they're seeing won't last.
Right.
Could you share one more time? Could you share it for those
for those at Rusea's, young people, I tell you, stand in your truth. Don't allow anything or anyone to make you feel less than. You are more than enough, and you're here for a reason.
Yes. They need to hear that.
Yes.
They need to hear that.
And for those who have succeeded and you're doing your thing, keep doing your thing. Yes. And just know that when you do it, Dawnette is over here saying, you go girl, you go boy. I know you. You're from Rusea's. Yes. And for Carlene, this is specifically for Carlene. Carlene, I'll never forget one day Carlene said to me, I admire you so much. When I was in school, I said, why? She said, your uniform is always so neat. You're so proper. I just admire you so much. And she was a young one then. And at the time I was like, oh, the younger kids are looking at me. So I have to make sure that what I'm presenting is worth admiring.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
And to you, Mr. Dunkley, I want to say, to you, Mr. Dunkley, I want to say, hats off to you. You didn't have to be doing this, but your passion for Rusea's is still evident in the way you're passionate about this Rusea's Brosis Foundation. You're passionate about interviewing and connecting with past students. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know this is not the end of our journey. No, I know that I will be talking to you again. I've saved your number. You're still an inspiration. And I was telling my daughter about you, and she goes, that's awesome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to meeting your family. I'm looking forward to one day meeting your family.
Yes.
Okay? All the best. You have a wonderful evening.
You
And
as well.
once again, thank you so much for sharing this time with us. Okay?
It was my pleasure.
God bless
Have a
you.
good one. Bye-bye.
Good night.